You think oatmeal is healthy, right? A heart-smart, energy-boosting breakfast to start your day strong. But what if I told you that by 10 a.m., your energy might already be crashing, all because of how you're eating it? Shocking? Here's the truth. In a recent clinical study, over 74% of oatmeal eaters experienced a blood sugar spike above 180 milligrams per deciliter within an hour of breakfast, even without adding sugar. And most of them thought they were eating clean. It's not the oats themselves. It's the 8 hidden mistakes, the very things you were told were healthy. And mistake number 2? That one shook even licensed dietitians when the data came out. If you're over 60 and eat oatmeal regularly, this video could be the wake-up call your body's been begging for. Because while oatmeal can be a powerhouse, it can also be a sugar bomb in disguise, leading to chronic fatigue, inflammation, and even belly fat gain, if done wrong. So today, let's uncover the 8 biggest oatmeal traps and how to fix them fast. Get ready to transform your breakfast from blood sugar sabotage to anti-aging fuel. But before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Elderly Health Tips to support more eye-opening health content like this. Let's get into it. Let's move on to mistake 1, using flavored instant oatmeal. As a physician who's worked with older adults for over 3 decades, I've seen this mistake more times than I can count. Choosing flavored instant oatmeal because it says heart healthy or whole grain on the label. It seems harmless, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Those little packets often contain up to 18 grams of added sugar. That's more than 4 teaspoons, hidden in what's marketed as a healthy breakfast. In fact, a 2020 study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that adults over 60 who consumed more than 15 grams of added sugar at breakfast had a 38% higher risk of experiencing midday fatigue and poor glycemic control. Let me break it down. Flavored instant oats are highly processed. They're designed to cook fast, but that also means they digest fast. And when carbohydrates hit your bloodstream too quickly, you get a sharp spike in blood sugar, followed by an equally sharp crash. That's why so many people tell me, "Doc, I eat oatmeal every morning, but I still feel exhausted by 10:30. Well, this could be exactly why. Now, how can you tell if your oatmeal is the problem? Here are a few red flags. You feel sleepy, foggy, or irritable a few hours after eating. You notice sudden hunger before lunch, even if breakfast was filling. Your energy feels like a roller coaster instead of a steady burn. Sound familiar? Mistake 2. Overcooking oatmeal, which destroys its nutrients. Let's talk about something that most people don't realize. Overcooking your oatmeal can quietly rob it of its best nutrients. As a physician focused on nutrition for older adults, I see this mistake often, especially among folks trying to soften oats for easier digestion. But here's the problem. The longer you cook oats, especially at high temperatures, the more water-soluble vitamins and fiber get destroyed. In particular, beta-glucan, a powerful soluble fiber in oats, breaks down when exposed to prolonged heat. According to a study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry, beta-glucan content can drop by as much as 20 to 25% when oatmeal is boiled aggressively for 10 minutes or more. And that matters, because beta-glucan is what helps lower LDL cholesterol, improve digestion, and stabilize blood sugar. When it degrades, oatmeal becomes less of a functional food and more of a starchy bowl with fewer benefits. The same goes for B vitamins, especially B1, thiamine, and B5, pantothenic acid, which are heat-sensitive. A 2020 review from Advances in Nutrition found that long cooking times reduced B vitamin content in whole grains by up to 30%, impacting energy metabolism, a critical concern for aging adults. So how do you know if you're overcooking your oats? Here are a few subtle signs. your oatmeal turns gluey or overly mushy. You feel less satisfied or get hungry again quickly. You're not getting the digestive or cholesterol-lowering benefits you expected. These are red flags that your oats may be losing their structure and their strength. To preserve nutrients, I recommend soaking oats overnight or cooking them gently for no more than 5 to 7 minutes. This way, you retain the beta-glucan, the B vitamins, and the texture that keeps your metabolism stable. Now comes mistake 3: adding too much honey, condensed milk, or dried fruit. As a doctor who's worked closely with older adults, I've seen this one far too often. People adding way too much healthy sweetness to their oatmeal. Honey, sweetened condensed milk, dried fruits. They seem harmless, even nourishing. But in reality, they're a hidden sugar bomb. Let's talk numbers. According to the USDA, 1 tablespoon of honey contains 17 grams of sugar. Just 2 tablespoons? That's already more sugar than a glazed donut. And dried fruit? A 1/4 cup of dried cranberries can have up to 29 grams of added sugar, depending on the brand. Now think about this. Many older adults add a generous swirl of honey, a spoon of sweetened milk, and a handful of raisins or dried mango, all on top of their oats. It doesn't seem like much. But in total, that one bowl could easily exceed 40 grams of sugar before you even start your day. And what's the risk? Well, as we age, our ability to process sugar efficiently declines sharply. A 2021 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that adults over 65 who consumed high-sugar breakfasts had a 47% higher risk of developing elevated triglycerides and fatty liver markers, even when total calorie intake stayed the same. Sugar spikes don't just wear you out. They fuel belly fat, raise LDL cholesterol, and put pressure on your heart and liver, organs that are already more vulnerable as we age. One of my patients, Deborah, 69, told me, "Doctor, I don't eat junk food, but I still gained 10 pounds this year." When we reviewed her breakfast routine, her oatmeal bowl had 3 teaspoons of honey and a small mountain of dried apricots. Delicious? Sure, but secretly sabotaging her metabolism every morning. Now here's what I want you to look out for. Do you crave more sweets during the day after a healthy oatmeal breakfast? Do you notice weight gain, especially around the belly, despite a clean diet? Have your cholesterol or triglycerides crept up on recent lab work? These could be signs that hidden sugars in your oatmeal are working against you. Mistake 4: eating oatmeal alone without adding any protein or healthy fats. As a doctor who specializes in aging and metabolic health, I want to make something crystal clear. Even though oatmeal is technically a complex carb, eating it by itself, with no protein or healthy fat, can be a metabolic mistake, especially after age 60. Why? Because as we get older, our insulin sensitivity naturally declines. In fact, according to a 2018 study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, adults over 60 show up to a 35% reduction in insulin response compared to younger individuals. That means even complex carbs, like plain oats, can spike blood sugar more dramatically in older adults. Now imagine starting your day with just a bowl of oatmeal. No protein, no fat, just carbs hitting your bloodstream. Fast. Your body quickly converts those carbs into glucose. Without anything to slow digestion, like protein or fat, you'll likely get a sugar spike followed by a sharp crash. That crash is what leads to mid-morning hunger, brain fog, energy dips, and sometimes even dizziness. I've been there myself. I remember one winter morning, I was in a rush and just grabbed a bowl of oats before work. By 10 a.m., I felt shaky, lightheaded, and ready to nap. I had no protein, no fats, just carbs, and I've seen the same story in dozens of my patients. So how do you know if this is happening to you? Here are some signs to watch for. Do you feel hungry again less than 2 hours after breakfast? Do you notice your energy fades even when you thought you ate enough? Do you rely on caffeine or snacks before lunch to stay focused? If you answered yes to any of these, it might be time to rethink your oatmeal. Add protein like eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein shake. Include healthy fats, such as chia seeds, almond butter, or walnuts. Your breakfast should fuel your body, not leave it running on empty. Mistake 5. Eating oatmeal every single morning without any variety. Let me share something I've learned after working with older adults for decades. Eating the same exact thing every morning, even if it's oatmeal, can slowly work against your health goals. Yes, oatmeal is nutritious, but having it every single day without variation? That can create a hidden risk, nutritional monotony. Our bodies need a variety of nutrients, not just carbohydrates and fiber from oats. And when we rely on one food too often, we risk missing out on other essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. A 2021 review in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition emphasized the importance of dietary diversity in older adults, linking repetitive eating habits to lower micronutrient intake and higher risk of malnutrition, even in people who were technically eating healthy. What's more, repeating the same breakfast can actually reduce appetite over time. It's called sensory-specific satiety, a concept proven in studies from Appetite Journal, showing that people eating the same food daily experience declining enjoyment and reduced nutrient absorption due to lowered enzymatic response. One of my patients, Margaret, 68 years old, retired nurse from Vermont, had a similar story. She told me, "Doc, I haven't missed a morning of oatmeal in 5 years." But lately she'd been feeling more fatigued, with brittle nails and recurring mouth sores. Turns out she was chronically low in iron and folate, likely due to lack of food rotation. So what are some signs that your breakfast might be too repetitive? You're feeling bored or unmotivated to eat in the morning. You're experiencing subtle deficiencies, like fatigue, dry skin, or slow wound healing. Your digestion or energy levels aren't as stable as they used to be. If any of that sounds familiar, it might be time to mix things up. Try alternating with high-protein breakfasts, like eggs with veggies, or Greek yogurt with seeds and berries, even a tofu scramble. You don't have to give up oatmeal, just give your body a break from the routine. Let's move on to mistake 6. Eating oatmeal too late in the morning. Here's something that's often overlooked. The timing of your oatmeal can matter just as much as what you put in it. Many of my older patients tell me they like to take it slow in the mornings. Wake up around 8 or 9, sip coffee, do a little reading, and finally eat their oatmeal around 10:30 or even closer to noon. And while that sounds peaceful, there's a hidden cost, especially after the age of 60. Here's why. After about 9 a.m., both digestive enzyme activity and insulin sensitivity begin to drop. A 2019 study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that insulin response in older adults can decline by up to 27% in the late morning compared to earlier in the day. That means the same bowl of oatmeal eaten at 7:30 a.m. is metabolized much more efficiently than if you eat it at 10:30. And what happens when your body can't respond to carbs as quickly? You're more likely to experience slower digestion, prolonged blood sugar elevation, and even disrupted daytime energy patterns, like fatigue or poor naps. One of my patients, George, 74, a retired engineer from Texas, had a similar issue. He loved sipping coffee until late morning, then making his oatmeal as brunch. But his blood glucose stayed elevated well into the afternoon, which left him groggy and craving sugar by 2 p.m. Just adjusting the mealtime changed everything. So, what should you watch for? You feel bloated or heavy after a late breakfast? You struggle with midday tiredness or can't fall asleep during your nap. Your energy crashes hard in the early afternoon. These are subtle signs that your breakfast is happening too late in the biological day. The fix? Try eating your oatmeal within an hour of waking, ideally before 8:30 a.m. This takes advantage of your body's natural insulin rhythm and supports better digestion and energy flow throughout the day. Mistake 7. Giving oatmeal to someone with medical conditions without consulting a doctor. One thing I always remind my patients: just because something is healthy doesn't mean it's healthy for everyone, especially if you have a medical condition. Take oatmeal, for example. Yes, it's full of fiber, supports heart health, and can be great for many people. But for some with underlying medical issues, eating oats without consulting a doctor can actually do more harm than good. Let's look at the data. People with gout, a form of inflammatory arthritis, need to be cautious. Even though oatmeal is a plant-based food, it contains moderate levels of purines, which break down into uric acid. A 2020 study published in Arthritis and Rheumatology found that consuming moderate purine foods like oats can contribute to flare-ups in patients who are already uric acid sensitive. Now, what about those with chronic kidney disease? Oats are rich in phosphorus and potassium, which can accumulate in the blood when the kidneys aren't functioning properly. According to the National Kidney Foundation, excess phosphorus can lead to bone loss, vascular calcification, and worsen kidney disease progression. And the fiber that's beneficial to most people? For someone with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, or slow gastric motility, oats may actually worsen bloating, discomfort, or irregularity. So how can you tell if oatmeal might not be right for you? Look for these signs: persistent bloating, gas, or stomach pain after eating; swelling in the joints, especially the feet or toes; fatigue or brain fog that feels worse after breakfast; worsening lab results, especially uric acid, creatinine, or electrolytes. If any of these sound familiar, it's time to stop guessing and start asking. I always tell my older patients, your health is unique. What helps one person might hurt another. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt worse, not better, after switching to oatmeal? Mistake 8. Not drinking enough water when eating oatmeal. There's one critical mistake I see far too often. People eat oatmeal, but forget to drink water with it. And trust me, that's not a small detail, especially if you're over 60. Let me explain. Oatmeal is rich in soluble fiber, particularly beta-glucan. This type of fiber forms a gel-like substance in your gut, which is great for lowering cholesterol, stabilizing blood sugar, and feeding good gut bacteria. But here's the catch. It needs water to move through your digestive system properly. Without enough fluids, that gel becomes sticky and heavy, slowing digestion and leading to problems like constipation, bloating, and even gas or discomfort, especially in older adults. A 2018 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that high-fiber diets without sufficient fluid intake were associated with a 41% increase in constipation risk, particularly in adults over 65. Barbara, a 70-year-old former librarian from Oregon, told me, "Doctor, I eat oatmeal every day because it helps my heart, but I always feel heavy and backed up afterward." Turns out she was only sipping a few ounces of tea with her breakfast. Once we added a full glass of water alongside her oats, her digestion improved within days. So, how do you know if you're not hydrating enough with your oatmeal? Watch for signs like infrequent or strained bowel movements, feeling bloated or unusually full after eating, excessive gas or abdominal discomfort, especially in the hours after breakfast. These are your body's way of saying, I need more water to do my job. For best results, I recommend drinking a full glass of water either right before or along with your oatmeal, especially if you're someone who doesn't move much in the morning or tends to forget fluids. In summary, oatmeal can be a fantastic food, but only if you're using it the right way. Eating it too late, overcooking it, skipping protein or healthy fats, not drinking enough water, or consuming it with underlying health conditions like gout or kidney disease without consulting your doctor can all backfire. The result? Spikes in blood sugar, digestive discomfort, fatigue, and increased inflammation. Remember, it's not just about what you eat, but how you eat it that truly matters. Now we'd love to hear from you. Have you been making any of these mistakes without realizing it? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Elderly Health Tips for more practical, science-based health insights made just for you.